Hi, Heather. Good to see you again. As we talked about last hour, Joe Biden had some startling comments in regards to the coronavirus crisis as well as China. Well, today, in regards to reopening schools, his administration, his White House, continues to struggle with the messaging on reopening schools in the wake of the crisis. Even his Vice President Kamala Harris today struggled with defining the exact position the White House has on getting students back to school full time. This in an appearance on the Today Show earlier this morning. Take a listen.
So our goal is that as many K through 8 schools as possible will reopen within the first 100 days. Our goal is that it will be 5 days a week. And so we have to work to achieve that goal. But our goal is the goal of parents. And I mean, here's the thing, Savannah, I don't need to tell you.
Now, they moved the goalposts from all grades to K through 8. Also, they continue to struggle with the question as to whether it should be a requirement for teachers to get the vaccine before schools can reopen. They keep saying that it should be the priority, that teachers should be prioritized. That's something that we heard from Kamala Harris in that interview. Now, later today, just a short time ago, Jen Psaki, the White House press secretary, was asked about that question, and she took the most definitive position we've heard yet from the White House on that, saying that while it's the CDC guidance that they be prioritized, the Biden administration actually does not think that teachers should be vaccinated as a requirement to go back to the classrooms. Now, she somewhat was thrown under the bus by her boss last night, talking about exactly when and how that the President Biden thinks kids should go back to school in the next, few days, keeping with his goals of the first 100 days. Jen Psaki saying today that they haven't had mixed messaging, that they've been solid on this. Take a listen to what she had to say in the briefing room.
I think we've been consistent for the last several days, and certainly when I initially said 1 day a week, it was our floor, it was not our ceiling. But without a doubt, the president wants schools to open 5 days a week.
One thing that they have talked about and that Jen Psaki said today is that there is a possibility of summer school, but there's still a lot of unknowns as to how this president, this White House thinks that kids should go back to school. Also unknown is how they plan to handle China. Last night, the president came under fire. He raised some eyebrows when he suggested that the genocide of the Uyghur Muslims, it comes down to cultural differences or differences in cultural norms. Jen Psaki wasn't straight on asked about that today, but she was asked about his position on China, and she continued to just say that this was a moving target and that they were going to have some patience in regards to their strategy on China. Take a listen.
As it relates to our policy toward China, we are not in a rush. We are focused on communicating and working with our partners and allies around the world. The president has had a number of conversations, as you know, with Europeans. He will continue conversations with world leaders in the weeks ahead.
She also said that the president always brings up American values when talking to world leaders, but some people have said when it comes to talking about genocide, it needs to be a little bit stronger rhetoric.
No strategic patience there.
You would hope that you could just say concretely that genocide is a bad thing and America does not accept it any time or any place. But maybe we should stop blaming Jen Psaki. Maybe we should just accept the fact that they just don't have an answer.
Well, speaking of Jen Psaki, though, I wanted to circle back with you, Emerald, and ask about your relationship and the story you had to share with Rush Limbaugh, because I think it's pretty fantastic.
It really is. And, I never met Rush, but he had a strong impact on my life and on my career. Sorry. We've lost a lot of good ones lately. Back in but I was just another reporter. I wasn't very well known. I had written a piece for the American Spectator called "The Collapse of the Never Trump Conservatives." It had been on the Real Clear Politics the week before he mentioned it on his radio show, and it gotten a little bit of attention, but a week after it come out, Rush Limbaugh shared talks about it on his show, and the things he said about it will always mean a lot to me, coming from someone like Rush, such a strong voice in the conservative movement. He was very complimentary of the article. He likened it to Michael Anton's Flight 93 article, and that was one of my favorite pieces of all time, is Anton's piece on that, and it just meant a lot to me. But it also put me on the map, and it changed the way that people thought about me from being, you know, just a reporter on the White House asking some questions. It really propelled my career in some ways. So I'm indebted to him. I'm thankful that he mentioned it, and it was so funny. I mean, I got messages that day from people all over the country. It was amazing. You realize how many people listened to Rush Limbaugh and what an impact he had.
You just watched Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news channel, now in more than 70 million homes. You can get Newsmax TV on your cable system or check your cable guide. And if your system doesn't carry Newsmax, call them, tell them you want Newsmax TV, because we're real news for real people.